3.5 pounds of sweet potato. I think some places in North America they call it yams. It is not the sweet potato that I'm accustomed to using, that we have in the Caribbean. Ours is more of a purple skin. Sometimes the flesh can be a bit purple, more reddish and stuff like that. But just plain old everyday sweet potato you'd find in the grocery store. And all I did, I gave it a good scrub, and I cut it up into big pieces. Now you can cut it to smaller pieces, but however size piece you cut it, totally up to you. As I said, very customizable to your liking. All I would suggest is make sure they're all sort of even size pieces, and that's what I did. The other option you have is to peel the skin, but what I did was I went ahead and gave it a good scrub. I want that roasted flavor in the skin as well too, and again, fiber, a lot of fiber in that skin there, so why waste that opportunity to get some fiber into us. I teased this. Canadian Thanksgiving was earlier in October, and there were so many people asking, Chris, what's the sweet potato thing? What are you doing there? What's that roasted potato? So I thought I shared with you guys, not necessarily Caribbean. There's nothing Caribbean about this because we treat sweet potatoes back when I was growing up in the Caribbean. And that's my oven coming up to temperature, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 400. We do sweet potato in different things. I would make, mostly in soups and stews and stuff like that. But we're roasting it today. And what I have is some light olive oil. You can use whatever oil you like using, whether it's vegetable oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, extra virgin olive oil. It's totally up to you. And I'm going to go in with sea salt, and you can use whatever salt you like using. I have a roasted garlic and herb mix that's just going to go into there, and that's going to add some lovely flavor. Sweet potato, fall, winter time, you think cinnamon, so I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of cinnamon in there as well. You don't want to go too heavy if you're not a fan of cinnamon. I'll have the printable recipe over at CaribbeanPot.com, so don't stress too much. I'm not the biggest fan of cinnamon, yet I love the smell of it when it's roasting in the oven. Once heat hits that cinnamon, it takes on a different flavor altogether. You can add any sort of smoked paprika to this that you like. I like the Spanish version, pimenton. It's a sweet paprika, and I don't like adding too much of it. So I'm just gonna hit that, because I find if you add too much of that smoked paprika, sometimes it takes on a bit of a wet shoe sort of smell. And over the years my sense of smell has become very very heightened. Black pepper. And if you want to put fresh herbs in here, you can do that. If you wanted to put thyme and rosemary and all those things, you can do that, or dried, totally up to you. But I would say if you're roasting, you'd get better results with dried herbs. This is it. I'm keeping it very simple with that black pepper in there, and all we'll do is give that a mix. And since the sweet potato is already sweet, and thus the word sweet potato, now keep in mind, once you roast them, they will become, even the sort of sweetness will really be heightened. You don't need to add, and again, totally optional. If you wanted to add a little bit of honey into here, you can, but you don't need to. Brown sugar, you don't need to. At that point, you're going to create something called candied yams. Now, if you want a recipe for making that candied yams, hit your boy a comment down below, or hit me a direct message, and I'll try my best to get it. It's the season for it. Holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything else. So it's totally up to you if you want that candied yam. But for now, we're sticking to this basic sort of ingredients with the potato. Let that potato shine through. And the thing about the cinnamon, once you add that cinnamon to here, well, via the sort of concoction we have here, what that cinnamon will do is sort of heighten the sweetness as it roasts, the natural sweetness of the potato. And all you would do is give that a good toss. You want to make sure it's properly coated with everything, and each piece is coated. I'm using my hands. You can use tongs if you want to, but my hands clean. I ain't too fretting about that. And it kind of, it worries me that people like myself who do content online, they feel the need they feel the need to wear gloves. Like, do you wear gloves when you're cooking for your family? Well, if you do, well, you know, rock that gloves. But I'm keeping it natural as your mommy, granny, everybody else would do, because at the end of the day, it's my family I'm feeding. I'm not in a restaurant setting or anything like that. So if you think you're in a restaurant setting and you need to wear gloves, but it makes sense, right? But anyhow, I'm going to scrape all that down and into the oven. All dressed up and ready to go into that 400-degree-Fahrenheit oven, middle rack, uncovered. We're gonna roast that off until everything is nice and tender. 25 minutes, 30 minutes or so, and it should be done. We'll test it at that point by just getting a sharp paring knife, going into the deepest part of the potato, and once that knife meets no resistance, we know it's good. It's gonna take on a bit of golden color and stuff like that. We're looking for that. It has to look pretty at the same time. Now, what I was trying to say earlier there about wearing gloves and stuff like that, I think it's because we are bullied as online creators, content creators. Sometimes we're bullied by people watching saying, yo man, wear gloves. You gotta wear gloves. That's disgusting. That's nasty. How are you gonna be touching the food with your bare hands? And I hate being bullied. I hate people who conform to what others bully us into wanting them there. Anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. Into the oven, uncovered, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. 35 minutes later, and this is what we have. What I did do is halfway through, I tossed them, because you got to keep coating, because all the oil, the flavored oil, the seasoned oil that we had, it's going to settle at the bottom, and you got to keep tossing them in there, not only to get them evenly browned and you know, look at the nice coloration we've got and everything else, but we want that oil to continue doing its thing for us. What you would do, take a sharp paring knife, go into the deepest part. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that, well, maybe not there, but zero resistance. So we see that went in. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com, not necessarily a Caribbean recipe. I didn't grow up eating this, as I said, but it's something I make, especially around the holiday time, Thanksgiving, a couple weeks ago here in Canada. And again, it was highly requested after I teased the video on Instagram. If you're not following me yet on Instagram, what are you waiting for? Head over there at Caribbean Pot. TikTok too. Uncle Chris on TikTok, imagine that. Anyhow, roasted sweet potatoes, so simple. And you know what I would do if you like herbs, if you like fresh herbs, here's where I would go in with a bit of rosemary or thyme or something, just to finish it off. While it's still warm, you just break up some of the leaves, toss it on there to open up the pores of the oils in the fresh herbs, and you're good. Vegan, vegetarians, everybody sorted out. I tell, I would all here too. Irie?